Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Nick Duce. You may well have seen me before on an Alation Brief speaking about the data culture maturity model. This is an extension to that we're going to be discussing today with the data culture maturity assessment. So the presentation that we're going to be going through today will be covering off just very briefly the Alation data culture maturity model, why we built it, and the data culture maturity assessment and why you should take it. This is an application that we've built that is available for you to get access to on our website. And we will go through some frequently asked questions, then through to a demo that Mandeep will be taking you through in the application itself. So to look back at the Alation data culture maturity model, it's been around for a few months now and has been used with several customers to help shape how they will work with the Alation platform going forward. Last month, we released the data culture maturity assessment, an online assessment that customers can use to find their current status of the data culture maturity. I want to take this opportunity to discuss why taking this assessment, or indeed any data maturity assessment, is a good idea. But first, let's take a closer look at each of the tenets that we have within the data culture maturity model. So let's start with leadership. It's often sort of the brushed over or dismissed tenet of data culture maturity. Many times organizations will implement software or data with the thought that the process of implementation and making the tools available will actually fix the problem. Data investments need more than just making them available in order for them to be truly successful. They need to be thoughtful and purposeful engagements with the business in order to be able to deliver the expected value and results. So without a change management program, without sponsorship, without training and communication, the most likely outcome is a lack of adoption and value not really being realized. So being able to find and understand data is also a critical process in helping an organization gain value from data. So if business users cannot find or access data, then the ability to use it is stymied. This tenet outlines the critical elements that we believe assist in and help develop a strong environment for data search and discovery. If you actively work to improve data literacy, you will develop more users of the data that can first understand it and second, use it to make decisions. You may not want to refer to these core components as a data literacy program, but more as an enabler to help people find the answers to their questions. And data literacy itself spans really more than the data and analytics organization. It really should be seen as a company-wide objective. However, the tenets within our model really are directed towards the DNA teams. These are core tactics that you can use in order to foster that culture within your organization to help enable the end users of data to truly grasp what is in front of them. There are also standalone data governance maturity models that can go into far greater detail on governance than the Alation data maturity model. What we've outlined here is a subset of many topics that can be covered in a data governance model, but we believe are the foundations of a strong start in running a data governance program. The topics center around the creation of a framework that everyone within the organization can follow, that they can adhere to by creating and applying policies to data assets, and most critically, documenting those assets so that relevant metadata is held for the data sets that need to be governed. You must also ensure that you are keeping track of what is happening with governance to ensure that that metadata is kept up to date and relevant. So many data projects are created by the business identifying a need, and often the path to success is not mapped out when the projects start. This can leave a vacuum between the data teams and the rest of the organization, which in turn means that value is not realized from that investment made. So in building the data culture maturity model, we wanted to help by providing a focal point for ideas related to work carried out with the Alation platform and adjacent technologies, to allow our customers to take stock, to evaluate their current maturity, to help build a plan for the future. Not only this, but to develop a value framework that can be used to identify where value is created in the use of the data and our platform. So this is what good analytics adoption with the data culture maturity model and adoption programs look like. The orange line represents real data from one of our Fortune 500 customers who engaged with us on their Alation adoption. So this is how Alation is different. We believe in and have proven the data culture maturity model, sustainable growth and not a point-in-time deployment or training event. Most tech companies can get you to the plateau, which is the gray line that you see underneath. But what we see that differentiates successful companies that achieve return on investment from their data investments over others is that they move beyond the deployment and they focus on the leadership and the literacy to drive that inflection point in adoption. Also, Alation has embedded analytics. We have the Data Culture Value Index, which can help us to measure adoption and to quantify the value to the business in terms of the productivity and the faster insights that can be gained in using Alation. That is what Alation delivers as part of our approach and what you need to do to get the most out of your investment. So the data culture maturity assessment is incredibly easy to access. It's available via our website, and the link to that will be available in the Q&A at the end of this process. And I believe Diane's going to share that within the chat as well. When you complete the report and you actually go through the assessment itself, a URL will be made available to you so that you can retrieve your results yourself. You can go back in and adjust your results. And if you have any issues with this, please have a chat with your account executive or your account team. They will be able to get access to that for you. The next step in this process really would be to review this report that's been generated with your account executive and your account team. They will be able to help you to understand what are the potential next steps that you can take from this point forward. And also, you have the option to use this report within your reviews that you will have either on a quarterly or an annual basis with your account team. And really, I would suggest that you revisit this assessment once a year to track your progress, to see how far you've moved forward, and perhaps readjust some of the priorities that you may have had previously. So, why should you take the data culture maturity assessment? And I think this is really stems from the need for some organizations, most organizations, to take a step back from where they are today, to navel gaze, to really put a stake in the ground and say, honestly, this is where we are today. You don't get the chance to do this very often, and the process of going through this assessment really doesn't take a huge amount of time. The conversations that happen with your account team will hopefully be beneficial as well. What this really, I think, ostensibly allows you to do is identify what your priorities are. Identify which areas you want to tackle first. In having the data culture maturity assessment in I suppose, the 20 topics that are available, you can help identify which of these you need to go to first. And once you've planned this exercise with your account team, you can execute. You can help your organization to become more data fluent and to help deliver that maturity that provides the real value for your organization. So, who in my organization should take this assessment? It could be you. It could be anybody in your organization who has a reasonable understanding of your data estate. It could be somebody in your organization who is responsible for a data product, somebody who creates reports for the organization. It could be anybody within the data and analytics team, or indeed those outside. I wouldn't necessarily send this to the end users in the organization. We do have end user questionnaires that can be sent out to the users to see if there are differing opinions between what you see within the organization and what the end users do, and you can marry up the information that you see there, which is really, really useful. And the next question that we have is, do Alation aggregate results? As of right now, we do not, but we do store the data that is being effectively captured in the delivery of the application. We will be at some point aggregating the results. Everything will be anonymized when we do this. So no individual customer's information will be reviewed in those aggregated results. If you do not want your data to be included in that, you also have the ability to delete the assessment that you've taken as well. And the next question that we often get asked is, then what? I've taken the assessment. What do I do now? The account teams will be made aware that the assessment has been taken. They have the ability to gather what we're calling the journey map from the data culture maturity assessment. And within that, once you've identified your priorities, there are suggestions of things that your team can do, of services that can be delivered, of other things that can help take you onto the next step of your data maturity. And with that, I would like to hand over to Mandeep, who's going to take us through the demo.
All right, thank you, Nick. Let me share my screen and okay. All right, I think it should be showing my screen. So, hey everyone, nice to see some familiar faces from, you may have also seen me talking about Alation Analytics or TCVI or other things we have done, but it's been a while since I did a brief. So, as Nick mentioned, this assessment is available on our website. The link to that has been posted in the chat, and also it will be in the community blog. But let's go over what you will see. So once you click that link, this is the page you'll be taken to. It will give you some information about what the assessment is, and at the end you fill out this form, provide some information, and then take the assessment. It will take you to this page, and it should, okay, and I guess it should automatically fill your email here, but in some edge cases, it may not happen. So just type that in. And now here, the first piece that you have to really start thinking about is, well, what are the use cases that are important to you, right? So these three cases, use cases you will see here, these three categories: self-service analytics, cloud migration, and data governance. These are the three main use cases that you may have heard our sales team and our other folks in the account team talk about, because these are the three core value drivers that we organize our sales process around. So we ask you to come in here and thoughtfully provide some insights into what is important to you. So if you think this is self-service analytics is where you want to invest in, you have to rank them uniquely. So they cannot, two things cannot share a rank. That's just important. And you provide that. There will be a captcha down here for security to make sure that we don't have bots filling this out. Once you enter the right number, you will see this button actually become available and be green. Click to verify, you're done, and you start the assessment. So as Nick mentioned, we have these four tenet pillars around which we organize our thinking for how to help our customers achieve their end goals, right? Because that's what this is about at the end of the day. Under each of these sections, you will see the topics, individual topics. So let's say you can start anywhere. There's no necessity that you must start here. You can start at data governance. Say, click open your governance framework. So for governance framework, we have these options that rank you from foundational all the way to optimize. And basically, you will select the statement that best reflects your organization. So if you think, you're intermediate, you click the cell, and immediately you can see the feedback. And when a question has been answered, it goes from being gray to blue, and you will see some insights. And as Nick also mentioned, you have the ability to come back here anytime. Say you need to take a break and come back later. You need to ask someone about, hey, how do we, what do we do about our policies? How do we apply them, right? You can always either copy this link manually or copy it by clicking here. And one thing we do ask is, this will save your state. You can come back to it anytime you want. And when you're coming back into the assessment, as Nick mentioned, you have the ability to delete or resume. So you could do either. So let's say you come back, you know what? I don't think I want to do this. You don't want your data out there. You didn't get permission. You could delete that. Other thing we highly recommend is you add notes. Write down why did you answer what you answered, right? These notes will be available to our accounting, so they can properly assess and work with you later on. Because the whole point of this is that we want to come back to this down the road and really discuss, hey, why did you pick this option, right? And compare your notes against maybe other folks that are taking the same assessment. So as we mentioned, the best results are coming for our customers when there are multiple people taking the assessment from within an organization and comparing and contrasting results. So let's say, someone thinks that, we're foundational on applications of policies, but, you think you're intermediate. That discussion between you and your colleague, it's, who knows what you might discover in there to your benefit and their benefit potentially. So we think that's a very useful tool to add your thoughts. Once you have answered all 20 questions, you will see this view. Basically, all the questions get pushed down. You can see everything has been answered. And you can download your PDF file. So the PDF output, let me show you what that looks like. It will show you who requested it. So this email is important. Don't add a fake email, because that link that we mentioned down here, the same link is accessible via PDF at the bottom, at the end. It will require email verification. So in order for you to action anything on this, resume it or delete it, you will need access to that email. So please use your real emails. So as you earlier answered the question around, hey, these are the value drivers and use cases that are important to me. We show you the same ranking that you entered, right? And we tell you, hey, these are some metrics you can use. Some of you who are big users of DCVI, our value evaluation tool, may recognize some of them. Some of these are new because they're coming in the next version of DCVI. And then for each of those pillars, you have your answers that are provided, you have your average score, and we believed it was important to give you something immediately to do something about it. So let's say, you come in here and say, you know what, curation, we scored low on that. We provided, we're a 1 foundational in that capability. What can we do? So here you can go down here and you can see some recommendations from us, right, on what to do. Same thing for every single one of those tenants, and it just reads that. And as Nick mentioned, we have a much more comprehensive plan that is also generated that your account team has access to ask them for it. It's quite large, and but it has some really meaningful resources in there, right? It has, if you want to engage our professional services, what kind of options you have. If you want to get community resources, right? Links to actual blog posts or briefs like these, where you can find out more about useful things. So we highly encourage you speak to your account team to get access to that. And finally, as Nick also mentioned, I want to reiterate, we have taken all our security for this application is the same as the Alation product, right? We made sure that we met or exceeded all the standards that our engineering team has. So your data is safe. So, don't worry about that. But we're encrypting it, double encrypting it, in fact, and you will have, like I said, we'll give you the option to delete it. So